Hi, Second Star fans. I am here with Tom Phillips, the author of this amazing book right here. If you hadn't had a chance to read it yet, you can pick up your copy at Second Star. And spoiler alert, we do have signed copies. So Tom, do you want to start us out a bit by telling us about the Curious League of Detectives and Thieves, Egypt's Fire?
Sure. The Curious League of Detectives and Thieves, Egypt's Fire, is about a boy named John who lives in the Museum of Natural History in New York City. And he's framed for stealing a ruby in the museum. And he has to team up with the world's craziest detective to clear his name and catch the real thief, a criminal mastermind known as the Mauve Moth.
Awesome. That is good. I have started reading it and I have like 20 pages left, and I can say that I absolutely love this book.
Those are the best 20 pages too. You're really
I know. I was trying to finish before the interview, but then I love taking my time, especially with books like this, because with mysteries and detective novels, there's always like those hidden details. So I don't want to like race through it because I want to see if I can solve it before the end personally.
Well, I appreciate that. I'll tell you how it ends. So no.
I'll put a big like spoiler alert, spoiler alert warning. Skip ahead if you don't want to hear. But I do want to start with, and I loved this so much, is your dedication is for Big Tom, the greatest father who ever lived. And then your epilogue starts with the time you discovered the greatest detective who ever lived. So my first question for you, was your dad a detective, or if not, did he introduce you to detective novels?
Yes, so my dad was a police officer, and then he's a strange entrepreneur, my mom and dad. So he left the force. They had a whole bunch of different businesses, and then he actually worked as one of the security guards at the Denver Museum of Science and Nature right up until he passed. And he was my best friend and literally the greatest father ever and the greatest man ever. And I could tell you many, many stories about him. But this book is about a father and son, you know, so it really is about how my dad taught me to be a better man just by being in my life. So I thought best to dedicate it to him. But he was the greatest father who ever lived. And Todius is the greatest detective who ever lived. And Todius is actually an amalgamation of my dad, LeVar Burton, and Danny Kaye, which is a old school reference, you kids. It's back in my day. Actually, it's way before my day. So it's like all of my heroes and people that I looked up to all put into one person. So
I love it. That's really cool. And I see Todius's bowler hat there behind you as well. So
I keep it. How do I do this? I keep it with me. It's right there.
Yeah, you're pointing. Yeah. And it's kind of hard to see, and it's not very blue there. But in the book, there's the bowler hat.
Yeah, the blue bowler hat. Do you know the painting Son of Man?
Or if I saw it, maybe. But
okay, so it's a painting. You probably have seen it. It's a guy with the bowler hat. And he's got an apple in front of his face.
Oh yes.
Okay, so that's sort of where where that character sort of started from, because I was very curious of who that person is, and he's got the blue bowler hat and the red tie, and that's what I based Todius off of.
Oh, I love that. That's really cool. So kind of talking about inspiration, we were chatting a bit before this interview, and I talked about how this book reminded me of a beautiful combination of the Baker Street Irregulars that I read when I was a kid and a series of unfortunate events. And so I was curious, what books inspired you to become a writer?
Series of unfortunate events, absolutely.
Yep.
Also this book has a lot of like the mixed up files of Miss Basley Frank Wheeler.
Yep.
Great book. I love all of the Dan Brown Da Vinci Code books. They're a little bit too old for our readers, but you can watch National Treasure on Disney Plus, and that's basically the same thing, only for kids. Yeah, I grew up with the Hardy Boys, and another series written by the same people as the Hardy Boys, and was called The Three Investigators. And they did like 20 books, and one of their books is called The Case of the Stuttering Parrot. And the parrot says 222B or not 222B.
Oh my god.
That book probably was the first book that I can remember reading on my own, and I still have a copy of it, and it's wonderful. So yeah, all of those. And then, Sherlock Holmes, and obviously, and some of the older classics like that.
Yeah, I love, it's funny that you bring up the Mixed Up Files, because that's also one of my favorite books. And I love you make a subtle reference to it without fully calling it out. And I loved how many like references you do with that a lot of times in the book, even talking about Purple Rain. Very subtly talking about that song. And it's like, I feel like there's, obviously the big mystery and like all these clues, but then there's like those subtle mysteries that like, if you know it, you know it. Otherwise you can just keep reading the book and it doesn't matter. But I loved finding those little hidden things in there as well.
So The Neverending Story is one of my favorite books of all time. And it always ends with like different things. It'll have like it'll go off and always says, well, that's another story, and it'll be told at another time.
Yeah.
And I felt that way. I like that about mysteries. Like you like leave a little bit of a breadcrumb for mystery that can be solved, but isn't, has to be solved for the point of the plot.
Right.
So and then I do a lot of references to books. Yeah. So there's, in the first book we hit Phantom of the Opera. We allude to it's always John read this book. So we've got Dracula, we've got Phantom of the Opera, we've got Wizard of Oz, Mixed Up Files, I think Treasure Island's in this one. It might be the next one. I don't know. I do have a lot where it's like, John, this reminded me of John who read this book about this thing, and then it's just a plot, because I was hoping that kids would go, that sounds like a cool book. What's that book?
Yeah.
Oh, Glass Menagerie is in there too. It's one of my favorite plays. When he's in jail, he talks about it. He sees the guy across the cell has a El Diablo tattoo and green whiskers, and like I did a lot of that just because I don't know.
I love it. Easter eggs are such a big part of, I feel like, our content nowadays, which is just so awesome, because it does, like you said, it does get people more curious of what was that? Like, what is that from? I want to check out that book next, or listen to that song, or watch this thing. And I loved that in there, because it does keep a mind curious and looking forward to something else to read. And
well, and the Purple Rain joke is because I put things in there that are Easter eggs for the parents that are reading it, but not anything that is not age appropriate, but like, I read it and I go, oh, that's funny. And the kid goes, I don't understand. You're like, oh, it's okay. That's a dad joke. That's fine.
Yeah. It's a song.
Yeah. It's a song called Purple Rain. Yeah.
Purple Rain. So with that though, with how you're saying, like with the breadcrumbs, how do you plot a detective novel? How do you plot a mystery to make sure the clues line up without giving it away right at the beginning, but leaving?
I don't want to give away the secret to the sauce. No. This is how you do it. Pay attention. No,
okay, paying attention. So, I'm fully focused.
You write backwards when you plot. So you plot backwards.
So like Memento.
Yeah. And then you write forwards. So you write you plot backwards from the criminal's point of view. I stole this thing. This is how I got caught. This is what I did wrong, was why I got caught. Those clues that we leave. This is what I stole, and then how I stole it. And we go backwards. And then when we write as the detective, then we're following the detective through the things, but all those clues are there that causes it. So that's how I do it. I plot backwards through the actions of the criminal, and then I write forwards through the actions of the detectives.
Then how do you create your characters? Because your characters feel very real and very human, which is just so
because I'm insane. No. Okay, so this is very complicated. First, all of the names of the characters are people that I know.
Okay.
Are based on people I know. My best friends and I, my nickname in high school was Toad, because there's a song called Tom the Toad. That goes to Oh Christmas Tree, and it goes, oh Tom the Toad, why are you lying on the road? Oh Tom the Toad, oh Tom the Toad, why are you lying on the road? You did not see that truck ahead, and now you're covered in tire tread. Oh Tom the Toad, why are you lying on the road? And you learn that. You're welcome. Great voice. we learned that on a river trip in high school. We had to spend 2 weeks on the river and like do all these like survival bondy things, and people started calling me Toad because they thought the song was so funny. And then my friends, feeling like they didn't want me to be made fun of, all adopted animal names. So we had Tanny, who was the goat, and John Randall, who was the boar, who is the pig, so it's boar hog.
Yeah.
The great Goatini, and then Scott, my best friend Scott, is the moose, so it's Scotty Moose.
Yep.
Now, their personalities are not that way. Obviously, Tanny isn't a cat burglar, and Scotty is not a prize fighter, and Randall can I don't know if Randall can read. No, Randall. But so I started there with names. So Jacqueline Starr is my friend, based off my friend Jacqueline Freelander, who I met in New York. She is a star. Like they all of them are people. So I start with that base, and then I cast them in my mind if they were a movie. So like Scotty Moose is like Vin Diesel, right? So
you're right.
put Vin Diesel in, and then I'm like, okay, now Vin Diesel is a prize fighter, and I'm like, but how do I, then politically, what message does that character bring to the story? So, like in Scotty Moose's point of view, spoilers, but I wanted to talk about all different types of men. So so Scotty Moose is gay. Not that it's really a big plot point, but he is. And I thought the guy that is the most physical, masculine guy in it, I want to have a different point of view than my main character. So then I started building things on top of them. And then, you want to make people as zany and crazy as possible so that anybody could be the thief. So you have to give everybody a little bit of slight, mystery to them, and a little bit of opportunity. And then, but telling a mystery is a lot like telling a riddle. So what makes a good riddle is that you only have one answer. So it could be, when somebody tries to guess the riddle, it could be 100 things they could guess. But once you tell them what the riddle is, they're like, oh, it could only be that one thing. And if you make a riddle where it could be more than one, then you failed the riddle. It's the same thing with the mystery. Like once you reveal it, all the clues have to actually point to that person, and not be like, oh, those clues all could have pointed to this person or could have pointed to this person. Like it really has to like focus down
onto the single person. That's really cool. We before the interview, we were talking a bit about your the rules and kind of why you built the rules and what they stand for. And actually the bookmark I have is rule number 2: the most valuable currency in the world is information. So I wanted to know kind of how you wrote your rules and how you came up with all of them, and what I know, if you want to kind of give what you had told me about who the rules are for.
Yeah, so one of the things that I really want to do is that I want kids to be able to get lessons out of it. My books are really about teaching boys to be better men, but it really can be teaching children to be better humans, because the truth behind it is that whatever gender you are, everybody has to be a good person. So the 37 rules of being a good detective is that Todius teaches John the 37 rules of being a good detective. And through the whole series, they'll come out. It's not all 37 in one book, but they're rules to be better humans. So the first rule is you learn the most information in an interrogation during the silence. And it's the idea of if you listen to you have to listen to what people are actually saying versus just deciding what they're going to say, or how you're going to rebut whatever they said without actually paying attention to them. Or the second rule, the most valuable information is valuable currency is information. Man, I can't even talk today. It's this idea of the more you know, the richer you are. So don't just take somebody else's opinion or knowledge or what they tell you to be truth. I hate to use the word research because it's such a weird thing, but learn, figure out what your truth is, and always ask questions, whether it's your authority figure, the police, your teachers, your friends, your girlfriends, your boyfriends, always ask questions, because you'll find that when people stop wanting you to ask questions is when they're not good for you. Like, the people who don't want you to ask questions are people that are trying to control your brain.
I love that. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, if that makes sense. I don't want to get too heavy, but yeah.
That's all right. We could go a little heavy here. And maybe this will be a hair heavy, who knows? We'll see what your answer is. But rule number 1 is discussed over a plate of blueberry pancakes.
Oh.
And I was curious if you have a favorite memory involving blueberries, because that was kind of a little bit of a discussion.
Yeah. So that story about blueberries in the book is my story.
Oh, okay.
The idea that we lived in the mountains, so blueberries weren't like always available. So when we got them, I thought, oh my gosh, these are the most luxurious things in the whole world. It's so like a thing,
Yeah.
It's not true. Actually, I found out later that actually in the real world, blueberries are actually cheaper than strawberries. And I was like, what? You can get blueberries anytime? This is amazing.
What is this?
But yeah, but really actually, so there's blueberry pancakes. Those are my favorite things in the world. Just as a kid, that's like my favorite meal.
Yeah.
And then root beer. There's a root beer jazz club, and my dad used to take me to A&W root beer to have like a talk about being a man. And we'd go have a quote unquote have a beer and like just talk about things. And he would like, that's how we spent our time together. We'd jump in the car and go get root beer. So that was kind of a nod to my dad. And also, like, it's a kid's book, so we can't have a speakeasy that has beer and alcohol. We took all that out, right?
Yeah.
So root beer is way better anyways.
I would definitely go to a speakeasy that had root beer floats.
Right? There should be one. We make one of those.
I know.
Jazz and root beer, I'm in.
Maybe we can call it the Curious League of Detectives and Thieves.
Well, that it takes place in New York City.
Right.
I called the American Museum of Natural History the New York Museum of Natural History because I didn't want to confuse kids that don't live in New York.
Right.
But you can always tell who's a New Yorker or not, because they're like, actually, that's not the name of the museum. And I'm like, yeah, no. And then Patty's Pancake Parlor is based off of a restaurant called Pershing Square, which is, if you want to Google it, you can see it. It's this little tiny diner that's across the street from Grand Central Station. And then the Blue Moose Jazz Club is actually based off of Uncle Jack's Steakhouse, which was a real speakeasy in the 1920s. And Jack, to elude the police, started making steaks. So people thought they were going to get the steaks. And then the steaks were so good that he ended up just making a steakhouse. And it's been like,
I love that.
So that's kind of cool too. So I based everything off of actual locations in New York, in the city, so that if people ever went, they could like hit all those spots and have, pancakes at Pershing Square, or, get a steak at Uncle Jack's or whatever. So
I love it. You did allude earlier that your sleeve on your arm is based off your book. So I was just wondering if you could give us a little tour.
So we got Gotini's card there.
Nice. The Queen and the Jack. Yeah.
And then Rule 37, which you'll learn somewhere. And then there's Shim Sham the monkey is on my arm. And then on this side, sort of thing, you kind of see that there's the ruby, the Egypt's fire, and the mauve moth. And then up top here is the Blue Moose, the Blue Moose Jazz Club. And then I got my Egyptian exhibits, and on the you can sort of see on the wrist it says "Stay curious," which is my like mantra, which is stay curious.
You mean this right here that I solved?
Yeah. The bookmark's so cool. Yeah. So I made those bookmarks with hieroglyphics on the back, so kids could learn how to actually share secret messages that their teachers and their parents can't decipher. Yeah. Unless of course their teachers and their parents have the internet. But that's besides the point. Yeah. The kids love it. The kids are like, "This is so cool. Now we can talk to each other." And then I'm like handing one to the parent. I'm like, "Don't worry, you're good.
You're safe."
I don't want your kids keeping secrets from you. I just thought it was fun.
I love it. So in chapter 12, and I promise this is not a spoiler, you write, souls can be rejuvenated in many ways. Some people meditate on top of mountains. Others drink a nice hot cup of tea. For me, a vacation to a tropical island and a banana split do the trick.
Yes.
So is that your way of how you rejuvenate? Like when you finished writing the book, did you go get yourself a banana split, or how do you?
Yes. Actually, all of those things are ways.
Okay.
Yeah. I also like. I love museums. I love museums. So I tease about how I collect museums. So everywhere I go to a museum. So like I art museums and history museums, and there's an ice cream museum. And it's awesome. It's in Pennsylvania, I think. So that's what I do too. I go to museums and see art, and that's how, you know, I relax. But yeah, vacation, tropical island, absolutely. Banana split, totally. Meditation, you should do it, you know. Yeah.
And you're from Colorado originally, but you're not currently living in Colorado, is that correct?
No, I'm currently in Burbank, California.
Oh, so you're surrounded by a lot of great museums out there.
Yeah, and also Wheel of Fortune. It's in sunny Burbank, California. That's where they tape it.
How often do you go to Wheel of Fortune?
I don't. I just know that the end is like filmed in sunny Burbank, California, and I'm like, oh, that's where I live, and I'm like, I've never seen that or Havana, and I'm very disappointed.
Yeah, so. I really love Burbank because I'm originally from California, so you and I switched places.
Yeah.
And I love Burbank, but in California in general, what is your favorite museum that you've visited?
Oh, well, that's hard. I really like Huntington Gardens. Yeah. Because the flowers and the thing and the art, and then they have one of the Gutenberg Bibles, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna totally just mispronounce that. So Guggenheim Bible. I don't know. There's like 12 of them in the world, and they were the first Bibles that were written by hand by the monks, and they're all beautiful, and they have one, and it's incredible. But they have like lots of old books and first editions of things, and then they have statues and flowers, and it's really wonderful. My wife and I like to go out to the gardens all the time, just hang out.
Have you all done the tea, the tea at the library?
Not yet. We had discovered it right when COVID started, so they haven't been doing it. So yeah.
I was just there actually visiting family, and my aunt and I were gonna go, but there was something going on and I can't remember, but they were having the literary map exhibit or something.
Oh yeah.
That going on. Did you get to check that out?
No, I missed it because I was out of town. But
okay. All right. Yeah. So we both missed it because I was about to be jealous of you if you
No, you don't have to be jealous of me. I didn't say no. And then you know the history museum here, the Getty's here. Yeah, even the tar pits and the zoo and stuff are here. Although you guys have the Denver Zoo, which is a brilliant zoo, and the Museum of Nature and Science is
so good.
Such a good museum.
I love that museum.
Yeah, I'm a little biased because we're from Colorado, but it's such a good museum. They have the best exhibits. It's beautiful. Their standing exhibits are amazing. Their temporary exhibits that come in, the traveling exhibits are always interesting and awesome and made for kids, and they're always interactive. And go right now.
Yeah, just go. It's such a great museum. I love it so much.
We'll still be talking when you get back.
We will. Because I think we talked almost an hour before we started the interview. So yes, go to the museum, come back and see where we're at. Yeah. Oh man. Well, so is this going back to the book? I know it takes place in museums, so we could easily talk museums all day, but is this monkey, is he our favorite monkey in the book?
Shim Sham. Shim Sham is it's everybody's favorite monkey. You're gonna love Shim Sham too.
I love Shim Sham. I love him.
Even though he's super evil. Never trust a monkey. Yeah, that monkey in the picture is Shim Sham, and you can see that he has the Egypt's fire in his hand. No spoilers, but
is he? Oh my god, I didn't even notice.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's crazy. All right, everyone, you now have to get the book to see the to see the Egypt's fire.
I like monkeys. That's on my card. It says artist, writer, monkey, because that's what I wish I could be.
Would you
hanging
be
out,
would you
eating
be also
bananas.
a jewel thief if you were a monkey though?
I don't know. I don't know. I can't tell you whether I would be evil or not if I were a monkey. I can't. That's a question I can't answer. That's, you're a product of your environment. So who knows? Depends on like where I grew up as a monkey and who my monkey parents were and how many books I read and
Yeah.
you
How
know,
many people you're dancing for and
yeah,
on the street.
how easy is it to get bananas? Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you've hinted, it seems like, that there will be a sequel
There
to the
is, yeah.
book. Is there anything you can share with us?
Yeah, it comes out June 2023.
Okay.
It's gonna be called the SOS, and it takes place on a ship. All of my, so I want to do a whole series, and we'll see how many I get. But every book is a different type of mystery because I want to introduce kids to mysteries. So this one is like a jewel heist. This next one is sort of like murder on the bounty, kind of. There's a crime that happens on the ship, and you're trying to figure out who it is. The old Agatha Christie.
Oh, I love it.
Feel. Yeah, and then I want to explore prison breaks, and I want to explore a lot of the Agatha Christie themes, and then there were none, and hit some Indiana Jonesy kind of like having to solve the clues to find the treasure kind of stuff, and I'm gonna hit every little genre up into the grand finale.
So since you brought up Indiana Jones, that means Shim Sham is kind of based on the monkey in Raiders?
Yeah, it is. So the monkey in Raiders' name is Crystal, the actual actor monkey. Crystal has been in everything from Pirates of the Caribbean, Night at the Museum. Indiana Jones was one of Crystal's first films. I think Crystal was in an Air Bud movie. So that's my favorite actor. So I follow Crystal's career, and amazing work, Crystal. Just keep doing what you're doing.
And Crystal's still around?
Yeah.
Wow.
Monkey's supposed to be like 30 or something, 40. Like they have a really, really long monkey lifespan.
Well, then maybe they need to quickly turn this into a show or movie so that way Crystal
can play Shim
Sham.
Although, I mean,
Oh, and obviously my cat is auditioning currently right now, so
I love that.
I apologize for Obi's appearance, but
okay. No judge.
I don't know what he's.
I have a dog named Dr. Watson, and I was going to show him to you, but he gets camera shy and he ran off.
Oh, well, let's see. Obi, are you camera shy? You're not really camera shy.
Obi's like, hey, what's up?
Yeah, so he is named for, obviously, the great Obi-Wan Kenobi, but we changed it to ObiWan Kit Nobi because we can't resist a good play on words.
Yeah, because puns are funny.
Yeah. I love that your dog's name though is Dr. Watson. And it's so, and I feel like that's not really a spoiler. Is that kind of why Todius calls
John Doctor? No. I had a professor in college that would call everybody doctor.
Oh, okay.
And except for me, he called me Tommy. And then I asked him one day, I was like, why don't you call me doctor? And he said, it's all about potential, Tom. It's all about potential. So it's just a joke in my head. And I put it in my book, but it's really about, you can be anything.
Yeah.
Put your mind to it. So Todius refers to him as doctor.
Yeah. I wasn't sure because with like Dr. John Watson, so I wasn't sure.
Yeah, but then it's kind of a play out for Dr. John Watson, and every good detective has a good companion. So
yeah. Oh, well, I love it. Well, I want to thank you for your time and discussing your amazing book.
Thanks.
I seriously encourage people to read this one. I love a good detective novel, and this is so good.
I think it's zany and funny and interesting and has heart, and everybody will love it. So go buy it. If you like, tell your friends. If you don't, tell your enemies.
Well, I mean, tell your enemies too, because maybe they'll buy it as well. So.
And then they'll become your friends, and then you'll have more friends.
Exactly. You never know who your friends will be, as this book kind of teaches you a bit on that
your
too.
Own league of curious league of detectives and thieves.
Exactly. And just don't steal too much from museums. Maybe just a little bit, but not.
Yeah,
not
don't steal. Just go visit. But
yeah. And maybe sleep over in it. If you can. Check that loose ceiling tile.
Yeah, it's hard. It's difficult being someone who lives in a museum in a ceiling. Most ceiling dwellers will know how difficult it is, but you know, maybe start lower, like, you know, like less busy places in a museum, like maybe like a fast food restaurant, or you know, and then work your way up.
Yeah, or check the exhibits you don't see people going into, and you know, go in there.
Just stand like a statue and people just think you're part of the exhibit.
There we go. Well,
right.
now I'm gonna go check the Denver Museum of Nature and Science. And
if you go to the Denver Museum, I will tell you that hidden in the Denver Museum are gnomes. So you can find them. I'm not joking. This is real. Gnomes are hidden throughout the museum. Gnomes, leprechauns, and fairies. And if you can find them in different exhibits hidden and things.
okay, I was just there 2 months ago, so now I immediately have to go back and find
yeah.
these. Well, I wanted to go back anyways, because funny enough, there is the extended like Egypt exhibit right now.
Yeah. Oh, it's so beautiful. It's so good. It's a great one. So go see that. Get the book. Go see it. Go find a gnome.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna go find the
by
gnomes.
Second Star.
Yes, we're pretty close to the museum. Actually, we're all of what, like
right down the street.
Yeah, like 10 minutes away or something. So yeah, come to the museum, come buy the book from us. It's a win-win. Although now I'm thinking, I think this book should just be at the museum gift shop. I think this would be a great one to pick up.
From your mouth to the curator's ears, I would love that.
Okay, I'm gonna go. Here's what I'll do is I'll go to the gift shop and be like, excuse me, I'm looking for the Curious League of Detectives and Thieves, Egypt's Fire. It takes place in museum. Where is it?
I'm okay with that. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll get the word of mouth going. We'll just send like groups of people to museum gift shops asking for the book.
I told my publisher I was just going to go leave copies places, and they're like, that's not how that works. And I was like, well,
it should
like put it in there, and the kid's like, I'd like to buy this book, and they're like, we don't sell that book. Where did you find this?
Yeah, and then that's another mystery.
Yeah, hey, and that's the whole point, is to find the mystery. My favorite mystery in the book, I'll say before we leave, is the mystery that I want to figure out and I haven't. Like, people ask me this all the time, like, if there's one mystery you haven't been able to solve, and that's, why don't women have bigger pockets?
Oh, I have to say that was one of my favorite lines in the book.
It's so weird.
Up the pockets thing.
Do
you want to know why? Do you want to know why?
Yes, I do.
It's so that way we have to spend money on buying purses.
It's a conspiracy.
Yeah, because then we have to buy purses, because how else are we supposed to carry stuff? Our pockets, or our jeans don't have pockets. So we have to buy it into purses.
I learned something so cool today. All right, well, that's definitely going in the second book.
Yeah, or at least that's my theory. Don't, you can quote me on that.
That's a great, that is some,
because think like, so it's funny, I will buy purses, but usually my purses are actually pretty small and usually under $20. But go look around at purses. You'll see some for $300.
I've never bought a purse before, so I don't know.
Now you can. Now there you go. Go take a look.
No,
well, ask your wife how ask her the most expensive purse she has ever bought.
I'd rather not. I'd rather not. Yeah, no. I'll just let her buy whatever she wants, and just be happy that she chose me.
Yeah, because backpacks have a purpose with like school books and all of that stuff. Like that makes sense. But yeah, purses for the ladies.
See, this is why you need to go to Second Star, because they have the answers to all of your deep, dark questions.
Yes, but if you're not ready for answers yet and want to solve a mystery, we always recommend a good book.
That's great.
Well, thank you so much, Tom, for this, and I'm glad I could help you solve a mystery today. That kind of made me very happy.
You're my hero. Yeah, so I will thank you so much. I had a really great time, and yeah, buy the book.
Please buy the book. We love it. It's great. Bye, Tom.
Bye.